America's only Irish station, Radio Irish. That's what you're watching and listening to. Sean McCarthy here, as we turn our attention now to one of the world's most celebrated contemporary artists, the South Korean-born Victori, whose works in portraiture, painting, sculpture, and authorship span 4 decades. These days, Victori makes the quaint American town of Rutherford, New Jersey his home, a stone's throw from Midtown Manhattan and just beyond the Meadowlands in plain sight of the Empire State Building. Indeed, it was in Rutherford, New Jersey that I came across the Victori Mansion, located on Ridge Road, a house that is now just as famous as number 12 Ridge Road, where Pulitzer Prize-winning poet William Carlos Williams once lived and wrote his worldly poems. One could argue that the Victori House is more noticeable in that, amidst the structure's gardens, stand a collection of giant statues, visible to all who pass by the house, whether by foot or vehicle. I've always been curious about the man behind these magnificent structures, and finally we received an invitation here on Radio Irish to come to the studio and visit the artist who created these wonderful statues. The same artist who invented multiplism. But more about that later, as I grab my MP3 recorder, a video camera and cables and head on up to that mansion on the hill in Rutherford, New Jersey. Sean McCarthy here, and we're delighted to be speaking with portraitist, painter, sculptor, author and ordained minister.
Oh my God.
Victori. How are you, Victor?
Good, how are you? Good meeting you, boss.
Absolutely. Finally we meet, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you were born on August the 16th, 1943, Victor. One of 2 boys in a family of 6 children.
Right.
You grew up in rural South Korea.
Right.
Outside of Seoul, and you began painting portraits as a child. Now, it is well documented that your father, who was a mayor of a town during the Korean War, and who was also a peach farmer, I believe, he encouraged you to take over the farm, but you dreamed of becoming an artist, and you enrolled in an art academy instead. If you had chosen the first option, what sort of farmer would you have been, Victor?
Well, it's a family tradition. My grandpa was a farmer, and he wanted to do better, so he became a mayor. In Korean War time, he was mayor long time because there's no other options for the people. And my brother didn't want to be a farmer. My father wanted my brother to be a lawyer or some kind of thing, politics. He doesn't want it. And he went to art academy too also. And I've been helping my dad all farming. We had a peach farm and grapes and a rice farm. So I was a good soldier for him, and I knew how hard it is. We don't have no machine. Everything's simply by hand. So I said, I'm not going to do this for him. No, your brother's going to Seoul and be politics or something, but you can take care of my farm. I said, Dad, you keep your farm. I'm not going to have anything to do with it.
Now, you left Korea, Victor, and you travelled throughout Europe to study art, from studying the works of famous masters such as Rembrandt, Van Gogh and Michelangelo. You settled in Paris, developing your own art techniques. Did you spend time in Italy at all, Victor?
Well, Italy is basically, when you're in Europe, all those Paris and Rome, all this kind of, you traveling like here, Washington, D.C., in Boston, here, same thing. Europe is a small place, actually, so you can go in and out. So go to in and out and go to maybe Amsterdam, Copenhagen, then come back, then go to Florence and come back and go to Rome. I haven't been to Ireland yet, even though my wife is Irish.
Your wife is Irish, yes.
Yeah, so we plan to go there. My wife really wanted to go there once, but when I travel in Europe, everybody looking at me. At the time, before 70s, and I look a little different. You know, what is the slanted eyes of Oriental guy? Little kids if I take a bus and train, kids are looking at me like kind of following me all the way around because I look different. So I said, no, I don't really enjoy the extra attention because it look different. But now, a whole bunch of Japanese and Koreans and all these people invading, all over the Europe or anywhere else. So it's different, but still 40, 50 years ago, was not many Orientals in Europe area.
Would you say it was an unpleasant experience?
No, it's kind of stared at because I'm the only different-looking guy in the bus and train. It was.
Now, talk to me about Paris, Victor. You spent years there. What did you learn as an artist in Paris, and what is it about Paris that drew you there in the first place?
Yes, well, basically, Paris is known for all the artists for a long, long time. And of course, if you're an art, you had to go there and see what's what. And so, basically, Paris make you very busy, especially if you want to study art or are interested in an art, because there's nothing but grand museums and galleries and stuff and artists all over the place. I had a little apartment in Montmartre and just walk up and down those hills and mainly chatting. You have a sketchbook with you all the time, do some sketch free sometime, and sometimes they do for you, and we buy beer each other with a bunch of French fries, of course. Delicious French fries. Well, ours is better than theirs anyway. But so it just influences you from in and out. You soaked into those art field. So you kind of automatically become a fan of art, and if you pay a little attention, you become an artist, and no matter who it is, really. So Paris is just in and out. Like some married girl keep going to their mother's house kind of thing. You keep going back. And my boys grown up, and then we take them to Paris, and then after a little while, then we go back again. And my wife, Maria, loves Paris, and she goes by herself sometime with her sisters. That kind of place it is. So when you travel Europe, and especially Paris, art is all overwhelming. Then after you come to the United States, it's a big country, but there's nothing much no comparison to Paris and the United States.
Well, you might have changed your mind a little bit about that because you moved back to the United States in 1972 and took on your first project, your now famous presidential mural of all the American presidents, which now hangs in the White House collection. Indeed, at this time you also presented the First Lady Pat Nixon with a beautiful portrait of President Nixon. And you went on to paint and present portraits to President Ronald Reagan, Senator Ted Kennedy, Donald Trump, and that's really just to mention a few.
Normally, when I paint the older president, second one, Obama still was a president. See, normally presidential portrait you count when they are out of the office.
Right.
More likely, well, Ronald Reagan wasn't, but... So, I'm sorry, I am really not a fan of Obama, and it wasn't intended to paint right away. Of course, then the collector... No, you gotta do him too. I don't want to drop that. You drop that before you finish him.
Talk to me about your work in painting sitters. When you're painting a sitter, are you looking to please the sitter, or are you really looking to please yourself more so?
Or even models, people who are sitting for the painting.
Well, like a president even, for instance.
Okay. Actually, you just try best you can on your work. And meantime, you're trying to flatter a bit for the model. So I heard so much about the Lyndon Johnson didn't like his portrait. The guy who painted Lyndon Johnson wasn't really a good artist. I mean, sorry to say, but didn't capture him what he is. Or once I read in some magazine for guy painted Henry Kissinger, supposedly Henry Kissinger, but it's like a painted like a Henry Kissinger brother or something like that. But it's not happening with me because I do this all the time. This is all I do. So 99% people happy with my work, and I'm not finished until I completely satisfy myself.
And is that point? Do you ever reach that point?
Oh, sometimes when I'm not really satisfied, and the model also not satisfied some reason, and we're keeping it that way. Plus, I did so many. It's about 30,000 people have been sitting for me for having their portraits. So it is a lot of people. 10 people or 5-10 people every single day last 30, 40 years. And so it's a lot of paintings.
Well, during the 80s, you married Maria.
Right.
And then you opened up an art gallery at 230 Park Avenue in New York City.
Right.
Where you offered live sittings. You have 5 sons, and you live here in beautiful Rutherford, New Jersey. I would say, looking from the outside in, you're a family man, Victor.
Yes.
Tell me, what does being a family man bring to your paintings and your painting, your art itself?
Well, when I come to the United States, it's really don't know what to do because I don't know anything else. So I start to go around, paint, sketching scenes and everything else. Then realize people slowly asking me to paint their portraits. So portrait painting becomes my job. And after doing so many portraits, you get a little sick of it. I mean, just people waiting in line, they fighting each other who was in the line first, and it was a 2-3 months advance schedule, and people just waiting in line all day sometime, and they fighting each other, and they just quit school, bring the kids out of the school, and waiting in line. We were here first. I took my kid. I didn't send my kids to school today because I want to have a portrait done by this man. Well, anyway, it was that popular in that point. And then slowly kind of become known as portrait painter. And these ladies bring their kids, 2-3 years old kid, and expect me to paint beautiful children's painting while the kids running around the whole room and some taking a nap and falling asleep in their lap. But they think they pay, so they expect a beautiful painting. And this is it. I'm not going to do that again. So I start to do multiplicity of their motion. I'm trying to paint this kid, and he keeps moving. And a woman, sometimes family portrait, woman just looking down kid. So I start to paint all those motions. That's how this multiplism began.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. What is the feeling like when your portrait subject sees their painting for the first time and is pleased with it? How do you feel?
Well, nothing's perfect. I always have some one painting out of 100 unsatisfactory. It's not the painting, it's the person, that individual. I think any business can find that happen. And paintings become beautiful, I thought. Or some even wearing gown, the late making a dress or a hat, came out perfect. But just some difficult person, they just never happy of anything. That's what happened. Most people are very happy with my painting. Now, I myself am happy with my paintings because I don't have to please no one. As long as I think it is done. I mean, I cannot believe I become in that stage in this time.
Well, after creating approximately 30,000 oil paintings, Victor, you took a break from portraits in order to experiment with a style of painting you had been developing since the late 70s, which you term multiplism, where unlike portraits which portray a single moment, as you were telling me there, your multiplist works combine the subject in many different positions and expressions in order to show change over time. So, flesh out multiplism for us. How did you develop this originally? You say you were looking at children running across your set one day. And
that's kind of quick sketch begin. I still have those paintings in my warehouse. We can, if you have a little time left, we can go there in my studio. You will see something amazing stuff. Hundreds of paintings still there. This is just living in messy artwork coming in our place. And multiplism is, I'm not much of a good reader of any books, but there's some story. For instance, like Old Man with the Sea. It's just like a simple book, or Napoleon or anybody else's some book. Take me a long time to read because I read again to painting in a whole book and front page. That's what my intention was. I'm trying to, let's say Old Man with the Sea, for instance. You cannot just have some paint old man to have feel of the book. So I have this anxiety and all this his sufferings. And in fact, also happiness, and all in one face, and becomes one painting. So in some of my painting, you see a whole book in the front. So I'm very happy I create that. And so when people see some of my multiplism, they see the whole thing. Like, for instance, a conductor. How can you paint conductor, have one stick in one position, and feel the music? This guy been conducting an hour, half hour, 2 hours. So you had to have all that motion in one painting. That's what I call multiplism. And so emotions and motions together, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah. In 2010, you completed a lifelong dream, Victor, to paint 10 Mona Lisas in the span of 24 hours. Indeed, the Leader newspaper here in the Meadowlands, New Jersey, documented your artistic venture. What were you saying or demonstrating, if anything, in painting 10 Mona Lisas in such a short frame of time?
Well, time to time, when we went to have some exhibition in Manhattan, there was one guy, is an agent of Picasso and Dali. He has all bunch of Picasso and Dali, and I was right next place. And he was kind of chatting. I said, "Why are you here?" I said, "Well, so what do you do?" I said, "I paint paintings." So that time I display my multiplisms. And so, how many paintings did you do? I said, about 30,000, more or less. 30,000 paintings, then why are you here? I said, why not? So if I counted, let's say, like $100 a piece, it'll be 3 million. If it is $200 a piece, it'll be 6 million. You must be a millionaire. What are you doing here? I mean, it's like, agents and salesmen and, well, what do you want me to do? So how good are you? That questions arrive. So that has been questioned for a few times. If they don't see my painting, that's their thinking. So I told my wife, I think, sweetheart, you should come here and talk to this guy. And the guy said, well, you talk to him. I said, oh, you his wife? Yes. So he said he painted 30,000 painting. Yes, he did. Well, then he must be a millionaire. Yes, he is. What else you want to know? He can paint 10 Mona Lisa in one day. Bullshit! Sorry.
I see.
So that happened to come up. So I hired, with my English, my lettering, nobody gonna read it. So I hired a lawyer, sent a letter to Guinness Book World Record. I can paint 10 Mona Lisa in one day with all the witness and the taping, whatever you require. And the letter came back, said, we're not witnessing the event, but they had a Guinness Book World Record show on TV at that time. Mm-hmm. That was an idea for having that. So I don't want them to having me show in 24 hours, but at least 2-minute, 5-minute thing, the finishing, whatever. They said, no, we're not witnessing. You already had to done it and send us the record. We are a record company. Guinness Book of World Record, what happened? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, slip of my mind for a while. So now, one day, I still got to do it because people who doesn't know me, didn't see my painting, still has question, how good is he? Mm-hmm. What kind of painting did he do for 30,000, 40,000 paintings? So I started to do it, and that was the camera, right there, the big one. That's $12,000 camera. And taping. The last tape got stuck in there. I busted the whole camera to take the tape out. So now I have a whole document, the tape, and I had a security guard watching all those things, and Maria documented everything, just all legitimate. Now we send it to Guinness Book Record. They say, sorry, we have no category for it. Nobody has done it. Mm-hmm. Nobody even thinking about doing one Mona Lisa a day. Take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, months to do one. And you did 10. We don't know how to put it. That was the answer. I said, I called the leader. Well, then we'll put it in the... Who cares Guinness World Record anyway? Right. Mine's still world record until somebody going to break it.
Or acknowledges it.
Right. So, and then later newspaper said, yeah, we'll document it. So they did. Yeah, so the pictures there and so on.
You have quite famously insisted that anyone can paint. Do you really believe that, Victor?
Yes, absolutely. It is, well, I didn't say you can paint as good as, but I had one time I had about 300 students in Florida. And so winter time, the ladies and old men come from Canada, Montana, New York, all for vacation for Florida. And I had a little art academy. And these people have no idea what painting is, well, never touched the brush before. So everything is available. You pay for the class, $20 for the session, $75 for the months, once a week kind of thing. And people showed up, so I said, okay, everybody put the canvas up and put let's say cross line or horizontal. That's, you call it darker blue in the bottom, in the top, light blue will be sky, so you just paint the ocean. Mm-hmm. But if you had a big stick and the vertical and put a few leaves on it, the tree. Mm-hmm. It's that easy it is. The face, the same thing. I said, make a egg circle and the 2 eyeballs and nose and mouth. Then you shape from there. And have a little additional hairs or a bald head, whatever, and different color hair, that you got the portrait. I mean, nobody going to buy it, but so you started it. So that's how easy it is.
And why is it important for you to convince people, ordinary folk who don't imagine that they can paint, to tell them that they can?
Yes, because they just, normally they said, I cannot paint even stick. I cannot even paint straight line. Well, that's hard to paint stick or straight line. Painting, you don't need any straight line, any stick. You close your eyes. Let's say I give you a sketchbook. You close your eyes. Just imagine the music or, just doodle around. Anything with the pencil. And something came up, right? Then I give you a whole bunch of colors. Let's say you only put 4 or 5 colors. You mix it with the white, all different colors. You have duplicated, double the colors. So we made a little darker with a little more black on everything. Every color you mix, you'll triple the colors. So you just took the brush, one color, fill up the one section, another color fill up the other section. You just create an abstract painting. You may not know what it is. That's how it starts. And just, I don't know, for me or to me, it's just that easy.
It seems to me that you want to share the joy of painting with people.
Oh, absolutely. And so time to time I invite some friends to my studio. And I'm not inviting them to do something. I just invite them for a glass of wine or something. Then they show up. So, what am I doing? Oh, I hand it to the brush, right? Well, there's the painting. You can just do anything you want. No, Victor, no, I don't want to mess it up. Okay, then you mess up yours. So I gave them the extra canvas. Right. And I do these, you follow me. So I did the John Hip, and he showed up.
Mayor John Hip.
Yeah, Mayor John Hip.
Mayor of Rutherford.
Right. And what is this? Well, just do the, walls and shingles and roof. And that's my house. I did to other guy, some friend, and he always wanted to have his father painting done. So I just had a picture thrown out from Facebook and printed and blow up an 8x10. So I put right next to it, and I sketched it. And he said, he's the one saying, no, I don't want to mess up big painting. So then mess up this one. So I sketched up his outline for his father. So I want him to mess up any color he wants in the face. Mm-hmm. But make sure you don't put dark color in the middle of the face. Dark color outside the face. He cannot believe what he did. So he's still talking about it, and he's so happy. And it really is that easy. It just now I put some how to paint roses in YouTube. It's on YouTube, how to paint roses. It less than a minute, and he looks so easy, right? Painting roses looks so easy on YouTube. Well, you can teach me that. Yes, I can. You can do that. Maybe not as good as that one, right. But let's say roses what? Just blank canvas. Maybe fill up some greens and red. It is a rose. It's not perfect first time, but you can work at it. After 10 painting, if you do the 10 painting, the 10th one will be completely different than first one.
You seem to be almost attempting to demystify the process of art. Would that be fair?
Well, a lot of people say, I don't know nothing much about art and this and this and that. I said, art, there's no rules and regulations. There's no straight lines, and they're not, so just something has to be a certain point. No, it just let your imagination fly.
Join us for part 2 of our exclusive interview with artist and sculptor Victori.
This is Radio Irish.